What's up, Facebook and YouTube? I want to talk to y'all today about something very important. And what we're going to talk about today is calling ourselves black. Why does Brother Sanchez say it's wrong for us to identify as black people? At the end of this lecture, you will have so much insight on why that's wrong and why it's dangerous for us and why it has not helped us for hundreds of years now. Listen, people, knowledge is power. And the truth is the only thing that's going to set us free, not what you call yourself and not your ego. Knowledge is power. That's the only thing going to set us free. It's the truth, not your emotion. So in order for us to reach a solution, before I get into this lecture, let me state that we must get our emotions out of the way, because emotions can cloud your vision. Let's talk about the dangers of calling yourself black and the mentality of being what's called pro-black. First of all, let's address that term. To people that say they pro-black, you know what I tell them? You really po-black. Alright? It don't matter what you call yourself to feed your ego. The truth is we ain't free. Also, before I go any further, I want to address some of the people who I see out here that's saying that, hey man, the English language is off. We can't worry about language because, you know, they made the language up. We just using it. Don't know about, that's foolishness, man. Language is everything. We speak English, so shouldn't we learn about this language that we speaking? We speak it every day. We say knowledge is power. So I guess some knowledge is power, but not all knowledge, huh? Foolishness, man. Listen here. But people that say that language is off and we shouldn't worry about language, those are people that's just running from knowledge and want to stay in ignorance. They feeding their ego and they feeding their emotions. Talking about your pro-black. What the hell does pro-black mean? Tell me what. Let's break that down. Guess what? When you say you pro-black, the word pro means professional. So how the hell are you professionally black? Okay? I guess we all professionals at being black then. How the hell can you be a professional at being black? Okay? The hell with being pro-black. I'd rather be pan-African. Alright? Now let me share something with y'all. Everybody know you don't bite the hand that fed you. Alright? I love my mama to death. Nancy Paris, baby. That's my mama. I love her to death. And I never disrespect or turn my back on my mother. Now Africa is our motherland. Why wouldn't we identify with Africa instead of a color that Crayola gave us? Stay with me, because I'm finna get real deep and I'm finna get technical on why we shouldn't call ourselves black. You see these black people running around saying I'm pro-black, but they work for a white man. They boss is white. The company they work for owned by white people. How ain't that a hypocrite? How much of a hypocrite can you be? You're not pro-black. You're using all of these terms to feed your ego. Now these people saying we want to unite our people. We want to come together as black people. But when you look at black people in the conscious community, we divided on so many goddamn levels. You got some cats over here saying we pro-black. You got some over here saying we 5%ers. You got some over here saying we Nation of Islam. You got some over here saying, goddamn it, RBG. You got some over here saying I'm New Wabian. You got some over here saying I'm Moorish Science Temple. We so damn divided. And you got Negroes out here saying we pro-black. You ain't pro-black, you po-black. That's what the hell you is. And talking about I'm unapologetically black. Listen, man, the white man don't care if your black ass apologize or not apologize. At the end of the day, when you get through yelling black power, you still gonna be a slave. You still ain't gonna be free. I don't care how loud you wanna yell black power. When you through yelling and your lungs all tired, you still ain't gonna be free. I don't care how tight you ball your fists up like this. When you open it back up, it still ain't gonna be a dime in it. So keep on stroking your ego. That's just to make you feel good. That's just an attempt to get some likes on social media. I ain't here for the likes. I'm here to speak the truth. And I'm unapologetically real. Now, take that to the bank. You want to know why stuff won't happen for black people? Because we turned our back on our motherland. Nobody won't identify with Africa. Then when you go and start breaking down the word black to people and giving them this knowledge, which is supposed to be power, guess what? They'll accept everything you say up until you tell these Negroes we ain't black people. Because they emotions, right? But when you want the truth, you got to get your emotions out the way. If I'm talking to a crackhead and I tell the crackhead, look, man, you've been on this shit too long. You got to quit smoking this crack. They're going to feel offended. They're going, man, I know where I can stop when I want to stop. But if they want the truth, they got to listen, get their emotions out the way and accept the fact that, listen, you're a crackhead. You smoke crack, don't you? Listen, man, let me tell you something about these pro-black people. I like to call them po-black people. Because at the end of the day, you can't be no damn professional black. How are you a professional at being black? Any motherfucker that's from the ghetto with dark skin all their life is a pro at it. What you mean you pro-black? I'm pro-real. I'm pro-truth. I ain't about stroking no ego. Now let's get into why we shouldn't call ourselves black. But before we do that, let me make this point. That I'm not pro-black. I'm pan-African. And that's a big difference. I don't turn my back on my motherland. I love my motherland. Most of these Negroes that's pro-black, they don't have no love for Africa, see? Let me tell you something. People so emotional that they let it blind them of the truth that's in front of their face. Okay? We're not black people. And when I say that, a lot of people say, when I break down to them how we not black people, a lot of people start telling me, well, that's just language. We can't worry about language right now. But then they turn around and say knowledge is power. I guess some knowledge is power, but not all knowledge. It's very important for us to take heed how we identify ourselves, people. The main reason we haven't succeeded as a race yet is because we identifying ourselves in a way that's keeping us divided, okay? One thing we can say, you got some black people that say, no, I'm mixed, man. I'm half Mexican and I'm half Indian. You got some black people that say, I ain't black. You got some black people that say, I'm Moorish. I'm a Moor. You got black people identifying with a lot of stuff. But guess what we all have in common? The fact that we all originated from Africa. So if you truly want to bring unity to the people, we have to decide how we're going to identify ourselves. For example, Crips, right? Go to a block in California, you see a group of Crips out there. But all Crips ain't the same. You got rolling 60s, you got rolling 30s, you got different sets of Crips. How do you don't know the difference between these Crips? Because they identify themselves different from all the other Crips. One Crip might wear a certain type of hat that these Crips don't wear. And that's how they identify themselves and keep unity. But black people scattered all over the place because we don't identify ourselves under a common umbrella. And that common umbrella is Africa. So when we start calling ourselves Africans, then it won't be hard to bring about unity. You know how many people can trace their roots back to Africa? And listen, the only reason you wouldn't want to identify with your motherland is if you're ashamed of it somehow. Let me tell you something. This white man don't care how nappy your head is. They don't care how natty your dreads is. At the end of the day, as long as you ain't free, they happy. As long as you still gotta go punch the white man clock, you ain't pro-black. So quit stroking your damn ego. Knowledge is power. Now listen what I'm telling y'all. You can't be professionally black. We should all strive to become Pan-Africans, okay? We have to identify with our motherland. And yes, language does matter. It matters when you're using it to reach a point, ain't it? It matters when you typing paragraph-long statements on social media. You looking at the way you type it. You looking at how you word stuff because you don't want to misuse the language. So why don't it matter when it comes to something as important as identifying ourselves? Huh? Why don't that matter? Because some people just want to remain in ignorance. You know why? Because ignorance is bliss, but knowledge is power. Now let me free your African mind so you can quit stroking your doggone ego. What I'm going to do now is show y'all the difference between being pro-black and Pan-African. And after this lecture, you can decide which one you want to be, okay? I hear a lot of people saying we got to get ourselves straight first, but they ain't getting us straight, y'all. They just around here bickering and complaining with no solution. I hear a lot of people saying that, you know what, we got to get ourselves straight first, and then you ask them, well, how we going to do that? And they lost. You wait for the answer, they don't know what the hell to say. That's what I mean by ignorance. That's what I mean by emotion. Brother Sanchez got a real concrete plan to get us back to being a nation again, okay? And the first step to that is to identify with a nation. All right, what's the nation? Africa. We can't find no nation in the world nowhere called black. It ain't no land nowhere called black, okay? So the first step to reclaiming our greatness is to start identifying ourselves by what we identified with before we became slaves. Listen, people, if we came over here as Africans and we were great, and then we became slaves and we still slaves today, calling ourselves black, and we want to get back to our greatness, Shouldn't we go back to identifying ourselves as the greatness that we was in Africa? Shouldn't we go back to calling ourselves Africans? All right, because when we was Africans, we was building pyramids. We had a land of our own. We was great. Now as black people, the only thing we got is BET. Get real. Then you got some Negroes think they smart talking about the English language is off. Don't use the English language. How stupid can you be, y'all? We use the English language every day. I'm talking to you right now with the English language. Come on now. When people talk like that, y'all, it's because they scared of the truth. It's because ignorance is bliss. And really they post out there just to get likes. They don't have a real solution. They get a lot of pats on the back saying, I'm pro-black. But when you think about what the term means, it means you're a professional at being black. What good is that going to do? Because you're a professional at being, look, so you're a professional at being black, huh? I'd rather you be a professional at being African, all right? I don't care how professionally black you are. And I don't care how unapologetic you is. Because whether you apologize or not, we still ain't free. I don't care about your ego and your emotions. I care about getting my people free. You got Negroes running around here in disagreement with each other, talking about they pro-black, but they ain't even got enough power to come together in unison. How the hell we pro-black and we so great when you look around the world, everybody else working together in unity? Why we so separated? Because some Negroes want to be Nuwapian, some Negroes want to be Israelites, some Negroes want to be RBG, some Negroes want to be NGE. But no Negro want to be that which they really are, and that's doggone African. You turn your back on your motherland, and it's a price to pay when you do that, and we paying it today. You got a lot of people out there saying, people that don't look like me don't understand white supremacy. That's foolishness. You mean to tell me them people in the Middle East don't understand white supremacy? You mean to tell me Bin Laden didn't understand white supremacy? You mean to tell me Gaddafi didn't understand white supremacy? You mean to tell me Saddam Hussein didn't understand white supremacy? You mean to tell me the Japanese who went to war at Pearl Harbor didn't understand white supremacy? White supremacy ain't limited to one group of people. White supremacy is a disease that affects the whole world, you fools. White supremacy is a disease that affects the whole world, people. Okay? And until the whole world unite against white supremacy, there will be no revolution. There will be no liberation. It'll only be a bunch of Negroes running around talking about them professionally black with an afro, but still punching the white man clock every day. Now check this out. A lot of people, when I say let's become Pan-Africans, They think I want to get a bunch of airplanes and fly all us black people over to Africa. You don't have to be in Africa. You don't have to be in Africa to be African, people. Okay? You got Chinese people that's been living in America their whole life. They still Chinese. So think of how stupid we sound, people. You think you got to get on a plane and actually fly to Africa to call yourself an African? To change your mind state from white supremacy to African concepts? No, you can do that from wherever you are. The blood in your veins originates from Africa, okay? And once you start resonating with that DNA, then you'll become an African. Until then, you just gonna be what they told you you was, and that's black. And I already showed you what the word black means. If you don't want to deal with language, fine. Then go and speak French or something. Speak another language other than English if you don't want to deal with it. Because this is the language that I speak every day. So I got to deal with it. These people that's out here stroking y'all ego, they have no real solution for our people, y'all. It's just a big pep rally. A lot of these folks out here that's so-called preaching and teaching are doing it out of emotion, okay? In order for you to give the people the truth, you got to lose your emotion and become non-biased, all right? Now let me break something down to you. A lot of people saying, I'm pro-black, and we got to focus on just our race first. Well, I agree with the fact that so-called black people, we have a lot of work to do on ourself, okay, as individuals. I'm talking about this don't include no other race but us, all right? But the first thing we have to do is learn who we are. Why we can't never agree on nothing? Why us black people can't never come together with a solution to help us out of our situation? Why, y'all? Because we can't agree. We have no common ground to stand on as a people. The doggone Hebrew Israelites don't like the doggone nation of gods and earth. The Moorish Science Temple don't agree with the New Wapians. All of this division and separation. You know why? We haven't found a common ground yet to stand on as a people. Now that common ground is Africa. We can all argue about whether the nation of gods and earth are right, whether the 5% nation are right, whether the Moors are right, or whether the New Wapians are right. But we can't all argue about the fact that we all originated from the motherland, right? We all come from Africa, right? No matter what you calling yourself. So if you really want to bring unity, let's identify with where we all come from. Now listen, let me tell you something about these pro-black people. They are really hypocrites. They really pro-black people. Want to know why I say that? Because listen, y'all, they say, let's give the white man back everything, all right? Let's give him back his language. Let's get a white man back his nation. Let's get a white man back, his patriotism. Let's get a white man back his concepts. We want to give the white man everything back that he put on us in slavery. But we don't want to get a white man these terms back that we identify with. All right? We never called ourselves black people when we got off the slave ship. We came over here as Africans. The slave master turned us into black people and created a false culture called black culture that really destroys our people. That's what happened. So if we're going to get a white man back all of his fuckery, then we got to get him back his false identity that he gave us of ourselves. The white man coined the term black person. That's who started calling us black. So you can't just give the white man back some of his shit. You got to give him back that false title, that false identity that he gave us also. This is what I want to say to those who refused to claim their motherland because it was renamed by Europeans. I have an example for you, something to think about. Now, you don't want to claim your motherland because it was renamed by Europeans. Well, think about this. Let me give you an example. Let's say you have a newborn baby, and in the hospital you name that baby Keisha, and I kidnap your daughter, and you don't find your daughter back until 20 years later, and I done renamed your daughter Felicia. So you mean to tell me you don't want your daughter back from me just because I renamed her? That's what you're saying in this scenario too. So people, let's think about what we're saying. We don't want to connect with our motherland just because it was renamed. That man came to Africa and took us Africans from the motherland, and now we don't want to even identify with the motherland no more. That's how lost we are. We rather say we pro-black, we rather say we this, we that, we this, but nobody want to just simply say, I'm an African man, I'm an African woman. Simple. You ain't got to be a professional black, whatever the hell that is. We can argue all day about how professionally black you are, but we know your ass come from Africa. So why not unite under our motherland? Why turn our back on our great motherland? Okay? We got to get a white man back this identity that he put on us. He called us black, and now we so proud of being black. We never identified with these titles. So let's give him back everything, right? Don't be hypocrites. You know what? A lot of these pro-black people ain't never professionals at coming at other black people. I want y'all to walk up to one of these pro-black people and ask them what their solution is for our people. And then stand by and wait on the answer. They ain't got one. They just full of emotion and ego. And that ain't gonna help us. You got people saying they pro-black, but when you go on their page, all you see is pro-white. The only thing pro-black in their lives is they fucking social media posts. Alright? I'm African, and I love my melanin, and I love my African body. That's why I became a vegan, and I've been a vegan now for more than 6 months. You go on some of these people Facebook pages who saying they pro-black, and everything they eating poison in their melanin. You're a hypocrite, man. How the hell you pro-black when your diet comes from the white man? You eating fast food. You eating everything that got the white man name on it to poison your black body. But you pro-black though. But you ain't got enough power to fucking change your diet and get your health in order. So you gonna die of high cholesterol with your pro-black ass. People think just because they grow an afro or get some damn dreadlocks that make them a revolutionary. The fuckery. I see a lot of people talking about, I'm empowering my people. I'm empowering my people. But every time I turn around, all they saying is, I'm empowering my people. I'm empowering my people. If you empowering your people, why every time I turn around, you saying it? If you empowering your people, then empower them. Don't keep saying it. If you fucking start doing actions, you won't have to say shit. Because actions speak louder than words. Every time I turn around, you posting some shit on social media against the next black person. So how is that pro-black? I guess you professional at hating on black people and poisoning your black body. I'd rather you be pan-African and stand up for our nation, for our motherland. Don't turn your back on our motherland to accept the title and the identification that the white man gave you. How hypocritical is that? Now the white man put this identity on us and we want to give him back everything else but this identity, this false identity we got. This the reason we can't unite. We don't have a common ground. Africa is the common ground. Now I want to jump into the technicalities and the dangers of calling ourselves black. And before I do that, let me break down to you what the word black means. Now to do that, I'm going to leave y'all for a minute with a series of slides to show you. So I'm going to break down to y'all right now what the word black means. Check this out.
If you look up the word black, first you put a time in it, and then you go to MA, and then you look at Middle English, and that means what? You're dealing with 1100s, 15s in that area. So already the scholar knows that black is not ancient. It doesn't even go past 1100s. So when they're talking about the ancient black gods of Egypt, scholars know they're lying. But believers don't know better because they got the mentalities of boys and girls. You know, Pharaoh was black. Jesus was black. This is what a scholar knows. So you go to the Middle English, right? And you put a date on it. Then it traces to OHG. OHG is Old High German. And it means pale. See why they laugh at these people? It comes from the Paleolithic man. Negro Yavera Arebo, the animal used in the experiment that created what you call the caveman or Paleolith. And if you don't believe it, go into Oxford Dictionary, look up hybrid, then go look up troglodyte nigger, and then look up chimpanzee, and it'll give you history. And you ain't a caveman. And you're not Paleolith. Therefore, you're not black. The European is a black man.
Who adopted their culture fell. That's called black culture or dead culture. They adopted our culture, codified it, put it in secret society, and they're ruling the world while we play emotional games on identity. That's what our problem is. And then trying to get our people to look at these things scientifically and from a historical perspective, and if we can get our people to remove their emotions and this competition attitude, they can get back to the law, because our problem is that our birthright is being stolen. And the other key is that our people need to understand the law that governs status and identity. And one of the problems that our people have is sort of like when we go into our history, we have a tendency to pick up the great things that we have done and put them up like neon signs. And then when we see the ugly parts of what we've done, we try to ignore it like it didn't occur.
Preach.
And so we play this game like we're godly and the Europeans just devilish. And the fact of the matter is, one of the reasons we fell because we violated our own laws.
Come on.
And so we need to know history as it really is, not just as we want to pick and choose and come to the world. Because the issue is that the whole world knows who we are. And while we may play games with each other and play these competition games, the world knows who we are. Ordinary dictionary, right? Merriam-Webster's dictionary, right? No secret, right?
Right.
Black, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's black.
Right.
Adjective, right?
Right.
Middle English, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That shows you the etymological origin, right?
Right.
Right. Now, Middle English, when you see the brackets, that gives you the history of the word.
Right.
It goes not past the medieval period or the mid-century. Most of our people do not know how to read a dictionary. These are keys that was given to Malcolm. That's what woke him up to his second degree. You understand? When he thought he had it covered. Then when people recognize that he woke up, a lot of people can't get in his pockets no more, so now somebody's been playing with us. But he wouldn't take the payoff, so they got rid of it. But the truth is what it is. It is what it is, not what we want it to be. Now this is just a basic dictionary, but if you had a good dictionary, it would give you an etymological breakdown or development of words. Right here you have black or more.
Right.
Then it's a noun, and it's irregular, and then it's black, which is the adjective, and you see a small case, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then plus more, which is capitalized because that's the proper noun, right? And that's a dark-skinned person, especially black, except in the other dictionary says African American, whatever they call them, but that's the identity. Everybody knows who we are except us.
Right.
And you present this to our people, and they'll try to take that and make that like it never even happened. You know why? Because they've been writing all their books in black. That's why we so damn corrupt. And then we so damn hypocritical, we don't want to accept it because we think somebody's going to take our balls off.
And that's exactly what I've been telling y'all. We so hypocritical. We so emotional that we don't want to face the truth. Every time you hear these pro-black people talking, the only thing they can tell you is the good part of our history. Nobody want to face the fuckery that we fell wrong from in our history. But when we face that, that's when we can fix our past and we can go and then fully live our future. But until we fix our mistakes we did in the past, we ain't gonna never move forward. Until we acknowledge where we went wrong in the past, we ain't gonna never move forward. You just can't ignore your mistakes in the past. You gotta deal with them. We're not blacks. And the master teacher just taught it to you. And if you want to know more on this, I'm going to leave a link in the description to all of these videos so y'all can get it from the brother Taj Bay, because he go way more into detail with the law part of it than I ever can go. So you need to free your mind, people, because knowledge is power. I'm not telling you nothing wrong.
That's why we so damn corrupt. And then we so damn hypocritical, we don't want to accept it because we think somebody's going to take our balls off.
Now this brother identified himself as black his whole life, and it made the Nation of Islam a lot of money, y'all. But when he went over there to the Middle East, he learned what the brother Taj Bay just told y'all. And when he came back, he wanted to tell us the truth, y'all, that we were not black people, and that by being black people, we was accepting a social status that was going to cripple us forever. As long as we accept the title of being black people, we'll never get the nationality that brother Malcolm X was going to bring about. And they had to kill him because guess what? They don't want everybody to be free. Farrakhan don't want everybody free. You know how much money the Nation of Islam make by us being black people? It makes a lot, y'all. And the Nation of Islam are not concerned with us learning the truth because they getting so rich off you believing the lie. So keep on believing the lie. And these pastors getting rich off Christians believing the lie. And these so-called pro-black leaders getting rich off y'all behinds believing the lie. So if I gotta die like Malcolm telling the truth, then so be it. If I gotta face scrutiny and face all kind of hate from my brothers and sisters because I'm telling them the truth, then so be it. We're not blacks. We're Africans. And the word more is synonymous with African. Now go and do your own research. Pull up Taj Tariq Bay. Pull up Black is a Social Status. Black and White is a Social Status by Taj Tariq Bay. I will leave the link in the description for you. You ain't got to take my word for it. When I do these lectures, I'm not speaking out the side of my neck. I'm not giving you no belief. I'm not trying to convince you of anything. Everything I put in these lectures, I got facts and evidence up that'll back up what I'm saying. Now, I just told you why Malcolm X died. Many Negroes will disagree with me. Well, how about I let you hear it from the doggone horse mouth himself. Now, this is a video right here of the minister Louis Farrakhan praising the killers of Malcolm X and saying that they were fearless, y'all. And listen, I'm going to upload the video right now. When you try to listen to this video, the audio is real low. This is a very rare video of Farrakhan giving praise to Malcolm X killers. And I just told you why they killed the brother. Because he was trying to make us Africans again. We ain't blacks. And until we become Africans, we'll never be free. Now I want y'all to listen to this video of your honorable minister praising the killers of my brother Malcolm X. I can never forgive him for that. Now listen to this video. Now if I hit play on this video, you're not going to be able to hear it because the audio is real low. So what I did was I copied the URL and I put it into my program and I extracted the audio from it and boosted up the audio for you. So now I'm finna get ready and play you the audio where Farrakhan say all of this crap about Malcolm because he wanted us to be Africans instead of blacks. Here go the audio right here.
Malcolm didn't know what he was playing with. No, he didn't. He didn't know what he was playing with. You don't jump up against a divine messenger of God like he did. He asked to die. And God obliged him. No, you don't understand. Like someone said, did you Muslims kill Malcolm? So the messenger said, and what if we did? He said, what if we did? Have you ever seen a leader scandalized like Malcolm scandalized Muhammad? Have you ever heard of anything like that? Don't you know if you scandalize a man who's loved and honored by the people, what are you asking for? You're asking for death. And he got what he asked for. And those who killed him, they weren't sneaking behind no damn counter. They came in the place where the man was preaching and killed him in front of his own followers. That's fearless men. And those who were there to guard him, they were ducking. Damn cowardly dogs. Ducking and running under poles instead of trying to protect the man. And you say it's your leader? You're a damn punk. You don't have no leader. If he's your leader, why the hell don't you stand up for him? Now all of a sudden they can serve you a dead man on a platter. And you eat him up as your leader, not knowing nothing about him while he was alive and know less about him now that he's dead. Malcolm's momentum carried him to his death.
Let me tell you pro-black people something. The only thing that make me uncomfortable is your ignorance, okay? Because your ignorance is the reason we can't excel as a people. Your emotions and your ignorance prevent us from ever becoming a nation. All right? Now, you must identify yourself with your roots and not your attributes. You want to know why we haven't excelled yet? Because we identifying ourselves with adjectives instead of calling ourselves what we are, Africans. Let's talk about blackness and let's talk about darkness. Then we're going to get into some more stuff. Okay, first of all, this is what you must understand about blackness. Blackness is a state of emptiness. Darkness is a force. Now let me break that down for you real quick. Let's go to the board. When you talk about darkness, like what's up there in space, the darkness in space, y'all, that's not blackness. Blackness means without color. Blackness means void, okay, empty. When we talk about darkness, we're talking about the force that all life originated from. Let me tell y'all something. It's important that we be accurate. It's important that we learn knowledge, because knowledge is power. You can continue on in ignorance all you want, and we won't make no progress. So you can continue on calling yourself black, and we just won't make no progress. We'll feel good every now and then. We'll hear some good speeches, and we'll feel all emotional. That's the same thing they doing in the Christian church. They ain't making no progress. They just doing a bunch of hooping and hollering because they don't have no real knowledge. Now in the conscious community, you got a bunch of Negroes saying, I'm pro-black. What the fuck does it mean to be professionally black? I'd rather us be Pan-African. Now let me show you again what Pan-African means. When we separate ourselves as a people from everybody else that look like us, we become hypocrites. Because when people say they pro-black, they also say we got to focus on our people. But then they don't want to focus on our people. They just want to focus on their little circle that's in front of them to get their ego stroked. Okay? When you say let's focus on our people, do you know how many people we got? Why wouldn't you bring them all together? The more numbers we got, the more chances of success we got. Okay? Listen, y'all, we got brothers and sisters all across the planet. All right? And we all have one thing in common, people. We are Africans who originate from the motherland. Then you got some Negroes over here that just want to focus on us over here when all of the goods in America are imported from Africa. How stupid can you be? You're going to forever be a slave to the white man until you unite with your brothers across the globe. You know why? The only way the white man can win is through his union with other people across the globe. Look in your goddamn house. Everything in your house is imported here from one of your brothers and sisters nation from across the globe who you don't want to identify with. But you'll go to work and punch that white man clock though. You'll eat that Jimmy Dean sausage. You'll take your black ass to Burger King and feed and poison your damn melanin. You so proud to be black, but you shoving a damn burger down your throat, poisoning your melanin. You're a hypocrite. People, we hypocrites today. Okay? It's time to get out of ignorance, people. Knowledge is the only thing that's going to empower us, and the truth is the only thing going to set us free. Not you balling up your fist saying I'm pro-black and growing your damn afro out. You can grow your afro out till it reach the damn ceiling, and you still going to be a Negro. You still going to be a slave. You still going to have to work for the white man. But until you do what I'm telling you, nothing going to change. And what am I telling you to do? Simply identify as Africans. What's so hard about that? If somebody got a problem with identifying with the motherland, they're a hypocrite and you shouldn't listen to nothing else they got to say. And you can't be black and African at the same time. You can only be one. Now y'all hear me refer to us as black people. You hear me use the term a lot, black African. That's because I don't want to offend nobody and where they at in their evolution. Okay? A lot of people ain't comfortable with me calling them African. Listen, y'all, I've been in arguments with people because I said, what's up, my African brother? I'm not African. I'm a black man. I ain't no damn African. That's how lost we are, y'all. So when I see our people so lost, they don't want to identify with Africa, it's sad, man. We got to give up this black mentality. We got to embrace Africa more now than anything. Okay? We got to embrace being Africans above being pro-black. Because pro-black is bullshit. I don't care how you want to take it. You can get emotional all you want. But what does it mean to be professionally black? Okay? And how can you put that above Pan-Africanism? Marcus Garvey was a Pan-Africanist. So if you want to follow in Marcus Garvey's footsteps, you should become Pan-African. Because Marcus Garvey, guess what? He was for all African people across the globe uniting under the motherland. So what are you for? Because that's what Brother Sanchez for. I'm for uniting with all of my African brothers and sisters across the globe. We got brothers and sisters in Africa that own gold mines, y'all, that the white man making deals with because we don't want to work together with our brothers and sisters. We want to be over here listening to hip-hop and carrying on with the fuckery and separating ourselves from our brothers and sisters across the globe. So at the end of this lecture, I hope y'all understand the dangers of us calling ourselves black and the fuckery of you saying you pro-black rather than saying I'm Pan-African. Okay? People, how you identify yourself is the most important thing ever. That's so important. How we identify ourselves, people. If we care about the motherland, and we should, because every goddamn resource in the world comes from Africa damn near. Let me put it this way, give y'all a more accurate number. 80% of all the resources we use in America come from Africa. It don't come from black. Okay? So let me break this down to you in a metaphor for people that's still slow. If the earth was a car, Africa would be the steering wheel. But when you say you black, you ain't in the driving seat no more. Think hard on what I just said now. If the earth was a car, Africa would be the steering wheel. And we're not in the driving seat because we don't want to identify with Africa. So everybody else driving this car, digging the gold up out the ground, digging the diamonds up out the ground, claiming the pyramids, saying they built the pyramids. Because we don't want to identify with our great motherland. We'd rather be over here saying I'm pro-black. Like fools. The moment we all come together under the African umbrella, we're going to see Marcus Garvey's vision come to life all over again. Okay? Now let's talk about darkness versus blackness. There's a big difference, people. And you got a lot of people that said language don't matter. It don't matter. You know what I'm talking about. But other people around the world don't know what you're talking about. Don't be an idiot your whole life. Don't be ignorant your whole life. You're going to have to learn something up here in this brain one day. Okay? You can't continue to go on in ignorance. Because if you know better, you'll do better. We ain't doing better because we don't know better. We're running from knowledge. You got Negroes make all type excuses on why they don't want this knowledge. Well, the English language is off, so we don't need to focus on language. But you focus on language every day. How hypocritical is that? Language is the way we communicate, people. Some of the biggest altercations that went down in history was due to miscommunication. Some of the greatest relationships that broke up and didn't last was because of lack of communication, misinterpretation. Somebody misinterpreted what the other one said. Now they going to war with each other. Language is very important. So for people saying it's not, you need to run away from them right now. You need to get away from around them because they lead you astray. Okay? Now listen, how we identify ourselves is very important, y'all. That's so important. We can't make no progress until we first learn who we is. We say we need to change, but the problem why we don't change is because we don't know who we is. So in order to make in order for any progress to take place, y'all, we have to identify the we. Okay? We don't know who we are. That's the first step. That's the basics, y'all. How can we fucking bring forth a revolution if we don't know who we are? How can you be a revolutionary if the revolution has not first started within yourself? You can't go out there preaching and teaching to the people if you fucking poison in your body. How you gonna go out there and teach African people to be proud of their melanin, to be proud of their body and their melanin when you poisoning your goddamn melanin every day? You eating foods that is deteriorating your health. But you so proud of your melanin. You so proud of your blackness, but your ass probably got diabetes right now. You just waiting on them to diagnose you. You so proud of your melanin, but your cholesterol probably through the goddamn roof. You such a king, but you ain't got enough power to fucking do nothing but sit on the throne and say I'm pro-black. You ain't got enough power to go running and go jogging every day, to get your health in order, to fucking protect your beautiful black body. How much of a hypocrite are you? You want to go out here teaching somebody and you ain't even right on the inside. You have no knowledge. Get the knowledge first, then you can teach the knowledge, okay? Being pro-black doesn't mean anything. And yes, y'all, Black lives matter. But I wish it was African lives matter. See, listen, y'all. I don't agree with none of this shit going on in the world against our people. And I'm ready for war, baby. I'm ready to go to war with these crackers. I'm not no Uncle Tom Negro. For you Negroes who say that about me, come say it to my face. Now, I don't want to get personal on this video, but damn it, enough is enough. And Brother Sanchez got nothing but love for his people, but I'm tired of folks coming at me with subliminal hate and going against each other. We got to wake up, people. The people that run the world don't agree on everything, but they got one common ground that they stand on. And that's, listen, y'all, we want to be rich, right? It's us against the poor people. We want to keep them poor. We want to stay rich. They might not agree on everything, but they all agree on that they want to all be successful and rule over your ass. But we can't agree on shit. We got to find at least one common ground to agree on. And what other better common ground than to identify with our great motherland? Okay? Africa is great, people. 80% of all the resources in the world come from Africa, but we don't want to claim it. We rather be pro-black rather than being pan-African. Okay? Let's talk about darkness again. Darkness is a force. Black is associated with emptiness, with voidness. Now you got a lot of people that's so emotional that when I tell them the truth about the word black, they want to come at me. I'm simply bringing the knowledge, man. I'm not telling you a lie. If I come to people and I say, listen, man, the prefix BL means without. When you call yourself a black person, you saying you're a person without color. Listen, Africans around the world and other races around the world don't take us serious because they say them people ignorant, man. They around here calling themselves white. That's what you calling yourself. When you say I'm black, you saying I'm white, y'all. You ever saw that movie Trading Places? That's what happened. They traded places with us, y'all. When you say you black, you saying you're a person without color. And listen, y'all, if you know better, you'll do better. So when Brother Sanchez coming to give you the knowledge on why you shouldn't call yourself black, and you still go out there and be ignorant and call yourself black, you're an emotional Negro, and there's no truth in your heart, and you don't want no truth. You just want to remain in bliss with your ignorance. Being pro-black ain't going to help us. And it hasn't helped us. But being pan-African will give us back our nation. Or make us start identifying and uniting with all our brothers. Okay? When we say we're Africans, we create a common ground and a common heritage and a common geographical location to us all to identify as. No matter if you RBG, no matter if you NGE, no matter if you Moor, no matter if you are Islam, no matter what you say you are, it doesn't matter, okay? That's just your philosophy. I'm not trying to change your philosophy. What I'm trying to do is unite the people, okay? You can say you doggone Crip. You can say you blood. I don't care. Long as at the end of the day you say you're an African man, you got something in common. If a Crip and a blood standing up in front of each other saying, hey man, you Crip, hey man, I'm blood. But they both say, hey man, look here, we both African though, so what are we doing? You see what I'm saying? We create a common ground to identify with when we claim Africa, people. Okay? Simple as that. Now, blackness is related to being empty. Darkness is associated with the ethers. It's associated with what they call dark matter. NASA, I want y'all to do some research here. I'm not going to get into this because this is a whole nother lecture. I want y'all to research what dark matter is. NASA did an experiment on dark matter, what's called dark matter in space. Dark matter is simply all of the darkness you see in between the stars. Okay? Darkness is actually a force, and it's actually a substance that can be measured under a microscope. What did NASA discover when they started researching dark matter? They discovered that the molecules that makes up dark matter is damn near identical to the molecules that make up melanin. Listen, y'all, I'm finna blow your mind with this. With all of that being said, let me blow your mind with this. There are no molecules that make up black. Black means without. Black means without any substance, without any color. So show me, how do I measure blackness under a microscope? We can measure dark matter. We can measure darkness, okay? But you can't measure blackness. And people that try to identify as being black will never have a nation, people. You identify with your roots, not your attributes. And if you did want to identify with your attributes, you would say, I'm dark-skinned, okay? Dark-skinned, okay? Not black-skinned, dark-skinned, okay? Listen, y'all, I'm dark-skinned. I'm just a shade of darkness. This is a shade of darkness. Let me show y'all something right quick. This is authentic Egyptian papyrus. This is the type of stuff that I spend my money on. You don't see me around here saying I'm pro-black, because I'm pan-African. And most of the people that's saying they pro-black, they shop with the white man. Now listen, this right here, and I got another one right here. Why am I showing you this? This is authentic Egyptian papyrus. This is a symbol of my aunt. Look at the color of the skin. There go the certificate of authentication right there. This is authentic. Now, you saw the color of the skin on that. Why did I want to point that out to you? Because if you look at our Egyptian ancestors, and they didn't identify themselves as black people, and they were great, y'all. They were gods and goddesses. Why we ain't great? Because we identifying ourselves with a word that means without, with a word that means emptiness. And listen, how you identify yourself begin to shape your reality. So if I keep calling myself a gangster, I'm going to eventually pick those traits up. Ask some of these white boys who grew up in a rich neighborhood and they go to hanging out in the ghetto calling themselves a gangster, and they start riding doing gangster shit. Okay? If I keep saying I'm a D-boy, it's only a matter of time before I buy me a pack and start slanging that shit. So if you keep calling yourself black, you're gonna start molding a reality based on the language you use. The universe, listen, let me show you how the universe works. The universe goes by what comes out of your mouth. Okay? You ever heard somebody say, don't speak it into existence? You speak things into existence. So whether you want to acknowledge language or not, it don't matter. The universe acknowledges every word coming out of your mouth. So for people that's going around saying it don't matter about language, forget that the English language off anyway. That's foolishness. Because every word coming out of your mouth goes out into the universe and begins to manifest itself. So when people walk around calling themselves black, they remain powerless. We remain slaves, y'all. We got to identify with something that's great in all of us. And what can we all identify with that's great inside of all of us? The motherland, baby, Africa. So y'all, we need to become Pan-Africans and not pro-black Negroes, okay? Being pro-black is associated with your ego, with your emotion, and it brings about no progress. But being Pan-African, like my brother Marcus Garvey was, that's going to make us make some progress, baby. But holding your fist up saying I'm pro-black and going punching a white man punch card, it's a hypocrisy. So what am I telling you here today? Let me wrap this lecture up. People, we've been ignorant for too long, people. One of the main steps toward of our salvation is going to be based upon how we identify ourselves, people. We must identify ourselves properly, okay? Because how we identify ourselves is how the world identify us, okay? So when we identify ourselves with a great land like Africa, which has such a rich history, we begin to manifest a great reality for ourselves and our families and our children. You rather leave behind your children pro-blackness, or you rather leave your children behind a legacy that goes back more than 500,000 years. Man, listen, our heritage on the motherland goes back thousands of years. Our legacy as black people started when you got off a damn slave ship and started picking cotton. Your legacy as black people only go back 400 years. Your legacy as Africans go back over 500,000 years. So who you really are? You're really Africans, because you didn't start calling yourselves black until the white man told you to do it. So if you're going to give him back all of his white supremacy, give him back that false identity that he gave us too. Peace.